You have 12 consults, but how many real consults do you have? And I said, well, did you preempt them for the doctor? Did you talk about, this is a cost, this is what it's going to look like? Do they need financing? Have you set this all up? And they're like, well, we don't have that conversation, but you need to, because you're probably putting on 5 or 6 people who say, well, at that price mark, I'm not even interested.
And this isn't just true in dental, this is true in everything. Like you see like Facebook and a lot of these companies, they're not acquiring companies anymore. They're figuring out ways to grow internally with what they already have. And they have billions of dollars in cash. So if they're figuring it out, like you have to figure it out.
What I think is really be teaching the conversation from day one on that phone. And I really think it's important telling those people we have finance options, but it's not the horror story that you knew.
Welcome back to another episode of Dental Marketing Go. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the founder of SMC National, where we help you create, convert, and close more new patients so you can grow the way that you want. But right now in the dental industry, it is absolutely crazy and it's hard to grow because money's more expensive than ever. And today I have the one, the only, the Dee Fischer. She doesn't need an introduction. If you don't know who she is, you're probably not in the dental industry. And Dee is going to break down for us today what's going on in the back rooms of a lot of these bigger DSOs and how we can take our cues and learn from them so we can grow in 2024. So Dee, you were just sharing a story with me of what's going on in the DSO world. Could you kind of break that down for us and share what you're allowed to share with us?
Sure, Gary. We see, talent being moving around. We see a lot of that happening in the DSO world, on the business development side, operations side. There's movement now, and rightfully so. And I think, just looking at efficiencies and what we could do better, I think this has opened up a lot of opportunity for the DSO world to look at, like, what's really important. What do we really need to be looking at? And I think what I mean by that is I think this is something, Gary, that you hit on all the time. They have so much internal marketing. Are they to capacity within what we have? So, for instance, like I said, I talked to a group on Friday, and they had 6 pedo offices. And they were telling me, about what their operatories were producing. And I'm like, you're not to capacity. And they're like, well, we don't have enough new patients. And I went back to, but what's your internal marketing look like? And they said, you could have a 10% gross margin right there by what's sitting in your door, right?
Yeah, I was recently talking, not to share compare horror stories, but I was recently talking to a doctor who we couldn't schedule new patients for them because their schedule was full. And so we went in and started looking at it, and what they found on their schedule was their team was actually blocking off the schedule because they just didn't want to have more patients after that kind of patient or after this. And it wasn't something that the group wanted. It was just something that a team member decided to do. And it literally set them back tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. And it's like this almost like invisible thing that we have all these opportunities right at our fingertips. But, and listen, I'm a marketing guy. Spend more money on marketing, everybody. Like that's what I want. But there's so much easier ways right in front of you to get more new patients, more revenue, more patients coming in, like today, like right now.
Yeah. And I think, the giants in this industry are going to really take advantage of this and really do that deep dive. And I think, those are ones that are going to really come out strong. And you look at the middle market, they're really going to, if they start looking at this and they start diving into, what do we have sitting in the operatories, or what don't we have sitting in the operatories? For instance, if you have an operatory that's producing 20,000 and you should be more towards that 35 or 40,000, what's not happening in that operatory? Do we have a doctor efficiency problem? Do we have a staff scheduling problem? Looking at the schedule mechanisms. And I'm going to tell you something, though, these people that have grown these large DSOs are pretty smart, right? I would say so. And they kind of know what they're doing. So they're looking at growth in a different way, maybe not by acquisition, but by capacity within your own walls. And I think, if everybody was smart, they would sit down and say, you know what, I really need to do this exercise. So let's do this exercise. Gary, you have 6 offices. How many operatories do you have? How many are fully functional each day?
Hey, got an important announcement for you. We are hosting the 2nd annual Full Arch Advantage event where you learn to create, convert, and close more full arches so your office can grow the way that you want. This is going to be in partnership with BioHorizons, and this is our 2nd year, but the important part is it's going to be virtual, so you don't have to fly out, buy hotels, travel with your team. You can just register and block off the days and watch virtually. And right now we have early bird pricing. It's never going to be cheaper than right now. I don't even have a discount code because it's so cheap. It's only $199 right now to register. And it's for your team. It's for your dentists. It's for your treatment coordinators, your dental assistants, and your marketing managers. And you're going to learn a ton of stuff to grow. Last year's event had a 74 NPS score, which is amazing. And the feedback was really, really good. So if you're looking at leveling up, we have a ton of new content, a ton of new automations and things that you can add to your practice to really grow, and executing on the phones to make sure that you can grow the way that you want. So don't miss this. Go to Full Arch Advantage right now and sign up. This price will not be around for long. Right? Yeah, so to do that first, you have to know what capacity actually looks like, right? And I think that's where a lot of people struggle first, Dee, is like, how do I know that I'm full? And then the next part, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this because I know you deal with this every day, but this is just like kind of what I hear as the marketing guy is like, are we full with the right kind of patients? Because there's a huge difference between, and this is where I see people make mistakes like end of the year. They'll say, get all their existing patients to come in for cleanings. They don't need any work done. You're getting a little bit of money for their cleaning, but then you have all these new patients booking into the new year who all need a ton of work done. So you just set yourself up for failure for a sorry month. So not all patients are created equal, and you need to have a little bit of strategy of how and when you're putting those people. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you a situation. I was on this morning with an orthodontic office. And, I said to him, okay, so you have 12 consults, but how many real consults do you have? And I said, well, did you preempt them for the doctor? Did you talk about, this is a cost, this is what it's going to look like? Did they need financing? Have you set this all up? And they're like, well, we don't have that conversation, but you need to, because you're probably putting on 5 or 6 people who say, well, at that price mark, I'm not even interested. Right?
Yeah.
So don't fill your book with things that are not going to really produce the final result. What does that look like? But I think, really going back, I think this is so important. I think I think that at the end part of the year, the second and the third quarter can really be good quarters. Look, we don't know what the Fed's going to do, right? We just just don't know.
I don't think they know what they're going to do either.
Exactly. But I do think, people are going to the negative. Let's go to the positive. Let's sit in there and again, go through your patients and look at them. If you have patients that are sitting on your book that have treatment that hasn't been sold, okay, so set yourself a metric. Out of the treatment plans that are coming in for the week, say there's 8 crowns, right? Set a metric. Can we sell 2? Can we convert 2? Just start small. And when you start small, it will grow to be big. And that's how you start to fill the capacity in your offices. So I think it's important, Gary. I think it's something that really, sitting around the table, listening to some of these, larger DSOs and listening to the M&A deals that are not happening. I don't know, if you look at how many M&A deals really didn't close this year or last year, it was a significant number. And why? Because money's expensive, right? So they have to grow.
Money's expensive, yeah.
Right.
Yep. People have to figure out how to grow internally. And this isn't just true in dental. This is true in everything. Like you see like Facebook and a lot of these companies, they're not acquiring companies anymore. They're figuring out ways to grow internally with what they already have. And they have billions of dollars in cash. So if they're figuring it out, like you have to figure it out. Now, one thing that you said there was interesting is like, how do I have 8 crowns coming in this week? How do I convert 2? And I know dentists hear that and they cringe when they hear that. But really, all we're saying is you have 8 crowns coming in. How do we help at least 2 of them? They're all coming in that need crowns. How do we help more people? And one of the biggest things that I see that dentists are failing in this area is that they don't have financial options. So right now, your patients cannot afford dentistry. Not only can they not afford dentistry, but they also do not understand the value of dentistry, meaning if you go to 10 patients and ask them, how much is a filling or how much is a crown or how much is an implant? They're usually going to be at like 90% less than what you actually charge. So you're going to say, okay, well, an implant is $4,000, implant, crown, and abutment. They're going to think that thing is like $500, $1,000, right? So they have a perception problem of what your product actually costs or your service actually costs. And they also don't have the finances to afford it. So you have to make it affordable. But what I see happening right now, Dee, is so many dentists are using patient financing rather than to drive the deal and close it. They're using it to save the deal. So they wait to the very, very end and then they go, okay, now I'm going to use patient financing. And I've been looking at the data around this. It's so small. The amount of patients that are using patient financing in GP offices, it's different in full arch, and ortho's a little bit bigger, but in GP, it's like almost nobody, super small percentages. But yet there's, like you said, 8 crowns coming in. We're going to help 2 of them. Why didn't we help the other 6? Like, why can't we help the other 6 with financing? What are you seeing that's working around this, that's helping offices level up?
So, I've seen, look, there's all different, patient financing out there. There's Sunbit, there's numerous ones that are out there, right? And, what I think is really be teaching the conversation from day one on that phone. And I really think it's important telling those people we have finance options, but it's not the horror story that you knew, right? Because a lot of people don't know how great some of these have become on that third party financing. So I think it has to start with the conversation for who's ever answering the phone. Yes, we can make it affordable food. Yes, we do have options, but no, it's not going to be at an 80% interest rate, because that's what people remember, right? And so if you look at TV, right, you see now. Like Rooms to Go, 55 months, free financing. You're seeing all that. So, but that catches people's attention, right? That's on the commercial. It's on the front end. That's on their marketing, right? Why are we doing it on our marketing? Why are we, and that's where it has to happen.
I'm going to tell you why that I would get hung, Dee, if I just went out there and started putting, okay, financing all available on everybody's marketing. They would get so mad because they would say, Gary, we get charged a percentage every time these patients come in and they use it, and I'm going to lose $1 bazillion. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep it really secret that we do financing. And then right at the end, we're going to try to save the deal with it. That's what I'm seeing. Right.
But I did an exercise, with a doctor the other day who's actually getting ready to go for M&A, an acquisition, merger and acquisition and trade. So I said to him, okay, so let's be a little realistic about this. Let's run your end of the year report. We've been the end of the report where it's about 200 crowns that were not sold, right? I said, so let's say if we sold 50 of those crowns, and out of the 50 of those crowns, we brought to the bottom line $10,000. 10,000 times your multiple at the end of your sale. What does that look like if he got all, thinking about it? And so I said, okay, it's okay for someone on the phone who's trained very well to explain your options. It's not a bad thing, because at least they know coming in there are our options. Look, would we all like it to be a cash deal or, a credit card deal? Maybe. But there are people out there that still you can captivate and you can convert. And like I said, just do the multiple, Gary. Like I said, $10,000 you bring to the bottom line on your EBITDA. If you did those crowns times your, say, 6 multiple or 7 multiple, it's $70,000 you're leaving on the table. It's a lot, it's a lot. So I think really looking at your internal marketing, are you to capacity, and how do you get it across the line to the finish line is what I always tell people. And I think, a big part of it is not understanding your internal marketing and your capacity.
Yeah. What else? Any other simple wins that people can get? I have a couple ideas, but I want to hear yours first. So what are some simple wins that people can get with internal marketing that is not hard to set up, not hard to train on, super simple that you could do almost with the press of a button?
I think the easiest thing is, like I said, so every time we have a spouse or somebody come, we'd have their family, we send a text message immediately for them when they leave, if they did make an appointment, to make an appointment for their family. And we get a big conversion rate on it. Oh, yeah, I was just at the dentist. They did a great job. We will send that out immediately. And we're seeing a lot of response to that, because sometimes in the office, they just want to go. So if we send it within 24 hours, we see a good scheduling rate come back. And it's just that reminder. I've just been there. And I think timing is everything when it comes to that. I think that's like a no-brainer. The other thing is, what I'm telling people is, look at what I say is sitting in the hopper. If you have a lot of unscheduled treatment, right? Send out a blast that, we have crowns, whatever you may be, we have.
So one thing I've seen that works really well on that is go into your PMS for the last 3 to 6 months, find everybody who hasn't accepted treatment on like $2,000, $3,000 or above. And then what you do is all you have to do is send out an email and say, hey, this month we're doing training of new team members, and we're giving 20% off of all treatment above X. That's it. That's all you have to say. And people will come and bring you Oh, you're 20. I was waiting for my tax return. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for that. I was unsure, but when I got your email, and then all of a sudden you just do $50,000 to $70,000 in treatment that was already just sitting there. It's just sitting there waiting for you. I've seen that absolutely kill.
And people don't train, Gary, the one thing I tell people all the time, one of the first things I do if I'm going in office, I'll train around the unscheduled treatment report. And people say, why do you do that? I'm like, because that's what's sitting there. You've already diagnosed and you spent the time with that patient. These people came here, they wanted treatment, right? We just didn't know how to make it affordable, or they didn't understand how to get across the finish line, right? So if you can train around the unscheduled treatment plan, I run staff meetings around the unscheduled treatment plan. Let's go through it. Let's look at it. But break it down in sectors and do that training, it goes far. It goes far. And think about this. If you have an AR report and say you have 250,000 to 500,000 just sitting in that AR, right? You converted, you've not collected, or it's unscheduled treatment, right? You can hire another provider. I tell people, I said, that's another doctor sitting there. If we schedule this treatment, you know what I'm saying? You can bring, and they're like, you're absolutely right. So it's looking at the unscheduled treatment. It's looking at the accounts receivable. They kind of tie together, but it really goes back to your internal marketing. What are you doing? Are you to capacity? Because a lot of times that unscheduled treatment plan will put you to capacity.
Yeah, that's such good stuff, Dee. Well, now that we've overwhelmed everybody, if someone wants help with this kind of stuff, how do they reach out to you?
Just on my website, or just, like I said, D@fisherspro.com, or Tammy, TAMMY at Fisher's Pro, or see me at a convention, grab me. But I'm excited, Gary, because we know, and I'm just going to throw this out there, we're going to be doing a great workshop at Dykema.
Yes,
we're really getting a lot of requests already. Hey, Dee, you got to come.
I know we were gonna share it. We were gonna share it on this podcast, but we're just finalizing everything, so we can't share it yet. But yeah, we will be at Dykema. We're going to be doing a full day workshop. The last one was through the roof, so they actually gave us a bigger room this year because our last one we packed out. So this is going to be really, really good year, and Dykema has totally changed their format this year too, which I'm really excited about.
Well, I would tell you that I have people already calling me about our CEO panel. Are you doing the CEO panel? I said, absolutely. To come hear them and to be so, I think in our workshop last year, they were so down to earth and humble. I'm excited about that. So really looking forward to that, Gary. I think it'll be an awesome day.
Awesome, Dee. Thanks so much for coming on. You did a great job today, and I appreciate you coming in and checking in with us.
All right. Have a great day, Gary. Thanks.
Bye.